All right. Yeah, I had a couple of ideas for today's story, and I've been like sort of tossing up between them. But I eventually decided to do a story from many years ago where I made a group to join a lot of my friends on RuneScape, which is like an online video game, like hundreds of players. For those who don't know, like hundreds of players, you can play with all your friends, and it's like high fantasy setting. So it's all about playing as wizards and fighters and fighting evil bandits and wizards and all these sorts of things. It was all the rage back then for, especially within my sort of age group. But early primary school and in preschool, I had a couple of really close friends. A couple in particular, we went camping with each other's families and we lived 5 minutes away. So we'd rip stick and explore forests, and we were just really close as friends. But then when we started getting further into primary school and getting to, more extracurricular activities and sports, we started to just drift a little bit, which I'm sure at like any age is just not a fun time. You get really close with people, you have your best friends, and then they just start to go a separate direction, and it's kind of upsetting. And little 10-year-old me didn't really want that to happen. So he decided to try to start like a party and a group of friends to defeat the demon of the wizard tower, which is supposed to be this really hard enemy that if you go up against it yourself, you're just definitely going to die. So you're supposed to join with a bunch of friends, join like a team and like work together against it. And I thought a team building exercise would be the perfect opportunity. The only problem with that was that I was considerably lower leveled than all of my friends. So I knew that I sort of would have to work a lot to try to get up to their level of skill of the game and like their power level and all these things. But when I took the idea to them, they were super on board. Everyone was really enthusiastic, and we decided, because with school and all these like sports and stuff we were doing, we didn't really have free time in common. So we knew we had to wait until the school holidays, which gave me a bunch of weeks to try to like level up and get better at the game before I actually joined them in the fight. But they were all on board, so I spent the next few weeks trying to like level up and was doing quite well. I was getting closer to them. But a few weeks afterwards, they came up to me and asked whether a friend that I hadn't really met before could join the team. And, because it was all about friendship, and like that sort of stuff, I was more the merrier. So I'm like, yeah, sure, this was fine. Call him John for the moment, just for the sake of like names and everything. But yeah, he was pretty good. We didn't get as close as the other group, but he was a pretty cool dude. Anyway, after that happens, kept on trying to like level up, get stronger. But then the problem is the higher level you get and the stronger you get, the harder it gets to get further in the game. And we started to realize that while I was around like level 20 or something, quite low level, and everyone else was like 90s, almost like the hundreds, it was a bit weird for me to be the like leader of the group. So as much as I wanted to be the leader, and I would have loved to have like led my friends into battle, it just made more sense, and I had to step down, and the new guy John ended up taking over as the leader. But I was still like determined to be as helpful as I could and, make this a really good experience. So I kept on training, I kept on leveling up. It was getting like a lot harder. I was practicing and training and like leveling up for as much of the time as I was allowed to, because I was 10 and my parents decided how long I was allowed to spend playing video games. And then a couple of weeks, like a week or two before we were supposed to actually meet up and finally do this thing, my friends all came up to me with John sort of leading them all, and they told me that I was no longer going to be in the group because I was too low leveled, and I would be more of a detriment to the team than I would be actually helping them. So yeah, they kicked me out. 2 weeks later, they took on the demon of the wizard tower. I've heard they did very good and they had a great time, and apparently they've grown a lot closer as friends.